Hello, today I'll be looking at Dungeons & Dragons Conquest of Nerath. It's from Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro in 2011. Age 12 plus, 2 to 4 players. Looks quite interesting. It seems like it's kind of an old school type game that's done in more modern times here. I like the art. Definitely shows you what's going on. Kind of an odd sized box. It's 12 inches by 18 by 3. As always, subscriptions are appreciated as I'm building up my library here. Overview and theme on the back here. Battle for the fate of empires. From the snowy expanses of the north to sun-warmed coasts of the south, 4 great realms struggle for survival and conquest. The undead legions of the Dark Empire of Karkoth march against the fragile Nerath League, determined to sweep away the human kingdoms forever. Elsewhere, the Infernal Iron Circle launches goblin hordes against the elves and corsairs of the Velen Alliance. Raise armies of foot soldiers, siege engines, monsters, and dragons to attack your enemies. Fight across the waves with fleets of warships and raging storm elementals. Explore ancient dungeons with bands of mighty heroes, searching for awesome treasures that might tip the scales of battle in your favor. Credits: Design Richard Baker, Development and Additional Design Richard Baker, Peter Lee, Where's Johnson, Editing, Art Directors, Cover Illustration, William O'Connor, Game Board Illustration, Illustration and Design. Here's all the components, rulebook, reference and tracker sheets, the map, we'll look at more detail. It's got a pretty good storage solution. 4 colors of miniatures, various tokens, cards, coin indicators, various dice. It's got a 22-page rulebook. Looks like it's very descriptive. There are 4 competing factions: the Iron Circle, Nerathan League, Velen Alliance, and the Dark Empire of Karkoth. These have their reference card. Shows the territories in the faction, the capital, base income in gold, starting treasury in gold, and the setup of units to the various locations. You have foot soldiers, siege engines, fighters, wizards, monsters, dragon, warship, storm elemental, and castle. Then the reverse side shows the turn order, sequence of steps in play, the battle sequence steps, and then your event card and discard pile. Sequence of play is you draw an event card, move any or all of your pieces, fight battles, reposition, reinforce, collect income. Battle sequence is first strike, roll other attacks, take damage, press attack or retreat, determine battle results. Then there's the quick reference card, piece summary, type, whether it's land, flying, or sea, the cost, attack dice, move, special abilities, and what you do when you explore dungeons. You attack dungeon entrance, battle dungeon guardians, plunder dungeon, restock dungeon. Victory conditions: you win the game by achieving enough victory points. Victory conditions for the freefall game: short, 13 VP at the end of the game round, medium, 20, long, all capitals or 8 treasures. Alliance game: short game, 20 shared VP, medium, 30 shared VP, long, all capitals, or 12 treasures. Then the victory points: VP in for the action for the get 1 VP for conquering an enemy land space, 1 to 3 for playing a treasure card, 5 for conquering an enemy capital. Then a space for the treasure cards. And the victory conditions: treasury of gold, dungeon guardian tokens, discard pile, and treasure card pile. Here's the unique miniatures. There's 252 total miniatures, 63 for each of the realms. And each has a foot soldier, siege engine, fighter, wizard, monster, castle, storm elemental, warship, and dragon. And some of them are unique between the different ones. Like they each have a different looking foot soldier, fighter, monster, and dragon. Very well done. And for each of the types, foot soldiers just go in land, shows their attack dice, move 1. Siege engine goes in land, moves 1 fighter, land, move 2, wizard, land, move 2, monster land, move 2, castle, land, storm elemental, flying, moves 2, dragon, flying, moves 3, warship, goes on C, move, and some special abilities there. And for the miniatures, you have these stackable discs, which basically just lets you put more quantities in there. Each gray counts as a 1, and each red counts as a 5. So, for instance, if you put this wizard on this disc, it'd mean you have 2 wizards. You put this wizard on the red, you'd mean you have a total of 6 wizards. For the dice, there's 6 6-sided dice, 4 8-sided dice, 3 10-sided dice, 2 12-sided dice, and 1 20-sided dice. And the different units have different hit dice. Fighters have a d6 for the hit dice. Siege engines, elementals, and warships have an 8-sided dice for their hit dice. Fighters and wizards have a 10-sided hit dice. Monsters have a 12-sided hit dice. Dragons and castles have a 20-sided hit dice. Here's unique tokens. First of all, the team markers for the team of Velen and Nerath and team of Karkoth and the Iron Circle if you choose to do that option. Then there's 80 control markers, 20 for each of the realms. There's a total of 80 gold tokens. There's 50 of the 1 gold and 30 of the 5 gold. These are the Dungeon Guardian tokens. There's 30 of those. On the flip side, it shows the monster you have to defeat and the type and number of dice they roll. And special abilities like first strike in this case. There's treasure cards. If you win an encounter against a Dungeon Guardian, you get to draw a treasure card, and it has the name, play instructions. For instance, play at the start of any player's turn or play at the end of a game round. Power, some of them have this. In this case, add 3 of your foot soldiers to 1 friendly land space. Property, for instance, once at the end of your 4th step, add 1 of your foot soldiers to 1 friendly land space, and then number of victory points you get for having it. And then each of the 4 different realms has event cards, and they're unique to each of the realms. There's a total of 80 event cards, 20 for each of the realms, and they would indicate the name, play instructions, rules text, flavor text, and the card number, and then also the realm icon. It's a pretty big map, looks pretty good. It's 21 by 30, looks pretty good. Is the victory point track. Then on the board you have sea spaces, land spaces, and dungeon entrances. Then the territories are divided up by the initial where the various factions are. Here's the Iron Circle, which is the red territories. Nerath, which is the kind of grayish. Velen, which is the gold. And Karkoth, which is black borders. Getting into setup and play here. I'll be doing a 2-player game. I'll be doing alliances. For the alliances, player 1 does Karkoth and the Inner Circle. Player 2 does the alliance of Velen and Nerath. 3-player, player 1 would do Velen and Nerath. Player 2 would do Karkoth, player 3 would do Iron Circle, and Iron Circle and Karkoth would be allied. If you do a free-for-all, all the realms are just going against each other. I'll be doing a short game where you win if in your alliance you have 20 shared victory points at the end of a game round. And victory points again are You get 1 for conquering an enemy land space, 1 to 3 for playing a treasure card, 5 for conquering an enemy capital. On your realm card it says where you place units, but also on the board the territories are also color coded about for what realm starts there, and they have icon indicators of what starting units go there, so it's very handy. And on your realm card it indicates your capital, your base income, and starting treasury. And I'll put the starting treasury in gold on each card. 13 for the Nerath, 11 for Valen, 12 for the Iron Circle, and 10 for the Karkoth. The Karkoths are the black. They're warlocks with undead armies. The Valen, in yellow, are elves. The Iron Circle, red, are goblin kingdoms, mercenaries, and warlike cities. The Nerath are human and dwarven feudal states. Then you put your alliance markers on the start of the victory points here at 0. Then you set 1 dungeon guardian randomly in each of the dungeon locations. Put gold over here, put the unused dungeon guardians here, treasure cards, and event cards for 4 different realms. Then we'll get to the first turn. The play goes in turn order of Karkoth, Valen, Iron Circle, and Nerath. Then each player goes individually in this sequence for their turn, and then they go to the next player. So you draw, move, fight battles, reposition, reinforce, and collect income. So we start off with Karkoth, and he'll do draw, where he draws 1 event card from your deck. His event card is Necrotic Transformation. Played during your move step, choose 1 enemy land space that contains an enemy foot soldier. Remove 1 enemy foot soldier from the space, then add 1 Karkoth fighter to it. This action triggers a battle if enemy pieces remain in the chosen space, so that's handy. It doesn't say play immediately, but I can use it during a move step when I would like to. Now we go to the move phase, where he can move any of his units he wishes. Foot soldiers, siege engines, can move across land 1. Fighters, wizards, monsters can move 2 across land. Castles don't move. Storm elementals move 2 by flying. Dragons move 3 by flying. Warships move 2. And heroes are either fighters or wizards. And they have a special ability that you need a fighter, wizard, or a combination of them if you're going to go into a dungeon. And wizards and fighters can also be used in sea battles as well. So I'll figure out which pieces he's going to move. He's going to go into here with his siege engine. Can move 1, he'll move there. He wants to defend his territory there. He actually move his fighter in here as well. And once you enter an enemy territory, you have to stop. So he'll backfill here to support this. Heroes can move 2. This hero is going to move to this dungeon. He'll load up some ships. You can load up a ship from adjacent items here. Ships can carry up 2 land pieces, and they can only carry wizards, fighters, foot soldiers, siege engines, and monsters. They'll load up this ship, and to load up the unit that's loading has to be there at the start of movement. So he'll load up foot soldier. He'll load another foot soldier here too. He's got 2 in that. He'll have this. He'll have the dragon fly here. Dragons can fly 3. Land here. Around here, let's see if we have a fighter hero that can go to the dungeon. Also a magic user. Wizard can go in there as well. I'll have this fighter move over here. This ship is loaded up, so it can move 2. He'll move over here. He has 2 foot soldiers on it. I'll have the monster move here. And I'll foot soldier move back here. Actually, I'll have him move. He can move too, so he'll move up to here. Then finishing up movement, since I have this necrotic transformation that I can play during the move step, I remove a enemy foot soldier and replace it with one of my fighters, and I'll do that. So I'll take the Valen foot soldier off, put a Karkoth fighter there, and now since I'm the only one in that territory, I can claim that, and I get a indicate territories that were originally other players that you've taken with a control token. You don't place those where you originally controlled the area, only ones that you've taken that were not under your initial control, so that's good news. You'll get victory point for that. Then after using that, I discard that card. As far as battles, the only battle that's happening is up here because he has units on enemy force up here, units on enemy territory up here. So we'll do that. Units have different special abilities. Wizards can do a first strike, where the first strike in a battle, and they can also do. They can be involved in sea battles, and also can be used in dungeon exploration. Fighters can be used in dungeon exploration and sea battles. Monsters have the ability to run amok. After they win a battle, they can again move to another territory. Castles, if a castle is conquered, they can be owned by the winning party. Storm elementals and dragons can fly. Dragons have to land on land though. Storm elementals can end their turn on land or sea, and actually they're more powerful in sea. If they're at sea, they get two dice, and they get 2 dice instead of 1. And ships, they load when their unit on the coast has been there that turn, so they can take that and move on the ship, and they can unload the items on them along their path along the coast in any of the locations in their path. And when they debark from the ship, they of course would combat the opposing forces in the areas they land on. Dragons also have the special ability that they can take 2 damage instead of 1. Most everything else, except maybe some monsters in dungeons, can only take 1 hit, but they can take 2. After it takes 1 hit, you can flip it over just to show that he was damaged. He'll be defeated on the second hit. And all items are hit when the opposing forces roll a 6 or better on their attack die. That would be a hit. Since he's entered enemy territory, there will be battle here. The battle sequence is first strike. Wizards can do their attack roll first and have damage happen on the opponent first. That's the first strike, and then you roll other attacks, and the other attacks are done simultaneously in this phase. Roll other attacks, the attacker and defender take damage simultaneously, and then you take damage from the roll other attacks. Press attacker retreat. Attacker chooses and determine battle results. Conquer spaces. Monsters can run amok if they win. Plunder dungeons. And then you repeat this till it's resolved. Either the attacker is the only one on the spot or the defender is. Have a siege engine and a Karkoth foot soldier. First as a Nerath foot soldier. And there's no first strikes. There's not a wizard there. So now we go to roll other attacks, and the attack die is 1 6-sided dice for the Nerath foot soldier, 1 6-sided dice for the Karkoth foot soldier, and a D8 for the Karkoth siege engine. You hit if you get a 6 or higher. For the Nerath foot soldier, 5 misses. For the Karkoth foot soldier, 5 misses. For the Karkoth siege engine, 6 hits. Then you take the battle damage. The result is that the Nerath is taken off. And now the Karkoth has gain that territory, and they'll put a control token there, and they'll get victory point for that. That's the only player versus player battle, but there's also going to be a couple dungeon exploration battles. Dungeon exploration battles only happen when you have a hero, which is either a fighter or a wizard on a dungeon guardian tile. And that's the case here. We have a fighter on a dungeon guardian tile, so we'll check this out, see what the tile is. In this case, the dungeon guardian is a hill giant. It's got 2d10, and when it has 2d10, it means it can effectively take 2 hits, because each time you do a hit, you take away a dice, and then you move on to the next battle round. Take away the lowest dice. So we have the fighter with a d10 versus the hill giant with 2d10. The battle goes as the normal battle sequence goes. There's no first strike since there's not a wizard, so it's simultaneous. The fighter, 1, misses. Hill giant, 2d10, 1 hit. So our hero loses. It's removed from the board. And now that we know what's there, to keep it face up so other heroes can come there and battle that dungeon guardian. And over here, we have a wizard and fighter versus the dungeon guardian, which is a minotaur with 2d8. Both the wizard and the fighter have a d10. Then we'll do the battle. The wizard gets a first strike. Hits. And with that, you do the damage immediately. So the minotaur, since he took 1 hit, now he only has 1 dice remaining. And now I do the other attacks with the fighter and the minotaur. The fighter, hit. Minotaur, misses. The minotaur is removed. That's successful. We draw a treasure card. See what treasure we have. You get a treasure card when you defeat a dungeon guardian. It's a teleportation circle. It's played at any time. Property during your move step. Each of your pieces in a space containing any of your castles can move to another space containing any of your castles. Doing so counts as moving 1 space, and you get 2 victory points when you play this card. That's the end of the battle phase. And the Karkoth Alliance updates its victory points based on what happened. Gets 1 victory point for capturing this enemy space, 1 victory point getting that opponent space. So 2 victory points. 1, 2. Now the reposition step. You exit the dungeon and you go to a friendly space. All the fighter go here, and the wizard go to this friendly space. Then you restock the dungeon. After you defeated the dungeon that has 1 dungeon guardian, you draw from the dungeon guardian pile and put 2 random guardians in there. Now it's got 2 instead of 1. The idea being that now, since there's activity, it's attracted more monsters. And then flying items can fly back to friendly space if they want to. And flying items are the elementals and dragons. I'm not going to have them fly anywhere. They're where they want to be. Now the reinforced phase, you can buy units. When you buy units, you place them by the area where you have a castle. Karkoth has 10 gold. And the cost of the items is here. Foot soldiers 1, siege engine 2, fighter 2, wizard 3, monster 3, castle 4, storm elemental 3, dragon 5, warship 2. You'll buy a dragon for 5, and a fighter for 2, and a wizard for 3, so for a total of 10. He'll pay us 10 gold pieces, places his items by a castle, put his dragon over here, by this castle, and he'll put his fighter and wizard by this castle. That's the end of the reinforcement phase. Then you collect income. Pretty straightforward. You count how many spaces you control, and that's your income. His initial Spaces he had was 15, but he's gained 2, so now he gets 17 gold. Gets his 17 gold. And if you've lost control of your capital, you only get half of the total amount, rounding up. And then you end your turn. Then after his turn, then the Valen will go and do that whole sequence. The Iron Circle will go do the whole sequence, and then Nerath will go do the whole sequence. Then they'll start over with a full turn with all of them after that. Hopefully that gives you a bit of the sense of the play. So that's Dungeons & Dragons Conquest of Nerath board game from Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. Excellent game. Glad I got it. It's kind of hard to find out there. Components are excellent. The strategic side is definitely a Risk-like feel to it. More complicated than that though. But then it also has the element of getting victory points from exploring dungeons. You get treasure that you can use. It's different monsters. The units have different abilities. So it's got that strategic element and then also the exploration part. Definitely be interesting with several players to do alliances, etc. if you do like the free-for-all. Great miniatures, great components, map looks great. It's pretty straightforward, which I appreciate. You get a lot of fun there with not having overly complicated rules. The combat's pretty straightforward, but I like how they do it with the different, instead of having to do modifiers and to dice, you used to have different dice. So it's very well done. Definitely recommend it. Give it a 9 out of 10. Thanks a lot.